yourself as an upstander?
I wouldn't normally do that myself, but I guess you could call me
Can you explain to us, well, in the bio that we read about you,
that.
being told that you was on the board for Project Hip Hop,
Hmm.
can you explain to us what's Project Hip Hop?
Project Hip Hop is a nonprofit organization that's based in Boston. The office is actually right in Dudley Square in Roxbury. And Project Hip Hop started about 20 years ago out of an organization called the ACLU. And the ACLU, organizes people and advocates for human rights. So Project Hip Hop started as a way to connect basically young people, teenagers, um, with the civil rights movement. So basically, a lot of teenagers were coming up unaware of all of the things that happened back then. So when Project Hip Hop started, it was a way to connect that old generation with that new generation, and they did a tour down south, even overseas, and got to meet the actual activists who were involved in the civil rights movement. And then they would come back to Boston and get involved in their local communities to try to advocate for change. And then now, it's still that same focus, but then they also use hip hop culture, um, theater, performing arts, spoken word, freestyling, and even graffiti as a way to express how they advocate or express the kind of ideas about social change and social justice.
So is Project Hip Hop just for people in the Roxbury area, or is it
No,
for
it's
anybody?
kind of citywide. So there's been people who are from Cambridge, people from Boston, all over the city. Even some people from kind of some of the other suburbs who got involved. Um, so it's not necessarily just limited um, to that neighborhood.
Um, why do you think others would consider you an upstander?
Um, okay, so to not be humble, so other people would consider me an upstander because I do a lot of mentoring, formally and informally, but more informally. I used to work for the Boston Public Schools for 6 years, so I met a lot of students and teenagers throughout that time. But even before I was working there, I was involved in the school district. Um, so I've taken a lot of people under my wing. And sometimes it's just like small stuff. Sometimes it's long term. So, there's people who I've technically mentored for over a decade, several people. Um, and then I also kind of try to speak out as much as possible about different issues in the community and kind of be involved in, issues around, a bunch of different things like small businesses or street violence and things like that.
Um, so we was also another thing that we do know is that you paint or you make portraits.
Take photos.
Photos, like
Yeah.
I like to say. Can you explain what kind of photos do you take?
My photos, I don't. I'm still, I'm still a work in progress. So my photos aren't necessarily what I consider great yet. I'm working. I'm aspiring towards being great. But with my photos, I try to kind of capture everyday life with me. So I like, kind of almost street photography and actually just capturing candid moments. Um, I actually biked to work yesterday, and I didn't bring my camera with me because sometimes I was just weird on my neck while I'm biking. And I saw two different people, 3 miles apart, collecting cans. So if you ever seen, somebody, the kind of street person collecting cans, that's how they make their money. But just kind of capturing scenes like that. I would have asked them if they'd be willing to, let me take photos of them. But that kind of stuff, the kind of photos and people that you don't ever really see or hear their stories.
Did you have um are there other upstanding things that you do that you don't normally tell people about?
Other upstanding things I do. I don't really tell anybody about any of the stuff I do. Um, I guess the informal mentoring is, I don't necessarily tell people. The people that I'm mentoring know, but no one else really knows.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask that question just yet. You are an administrator at Leslie University.
Mhm.
What do you do as an administrator?
At Leslie, in a department called the E-Learning and Instructional Support Department, and my title is the Director of Learning Design and Technology. So we're focused on using technology as a tool to enhance the way the professors teach and the students learn. So with that, we advise and coach. I'm like a coach for professors around using technology in their class, whether they're using it in a regular class where they see the students all the time, or they never see the students and they teach completely online and everything in between. So using technology as a tool, using technology as the main thing, or just kind of if they're just dabbling in technology and just want to post their syllabus and use one website for their students to kind of learn outside of the class.
So basically, for using technology for writing teachers, for the students.
Well, somewhat, because I'm not like the technology, like I'm not there to fix their computer.
Yeah.
I'm there to really help them think about what they can do with technology to get their students to think.
Okay. Is it just Leslie University that you're doing
Yes,
this with?
I'm just based at Leslie, right down the street.
Do you work at any other university?
No, when I left the Boston Public Schools, and then I ended up, Leslie was the next place I worked.
So, did you ever, like, is this what you, when you were younger, this was you planned on being?
Not at all.
Really?
I was supposed to be in the NBA. I should have been close to retirement by now. But I was never really, I was athletic, but I wasn't really, I was never skinny enough to really play and jump high enough to dunk. So those dreams got crushed. Then I wanted to be a judge, and then that didn't happen. And then in middle school, I wanted to become an engineer, and I got on that track. I went to college for engineering, and then 2 years in, technology kind of exploded. So I switched from an engineering major to a technology major, like information systems. So that's the field I'm in now, and I can still consider it similar to engineering. So in a way, I am kind of still in kind of the technology field. But originally, I wanted to be a ball player and a judge.
On our bio that we got, it said that you like when people call you Pops or something.
So Pops is my nickname. I don't force people to call me that. It's a nickname that I got in the year 2000. So feeling kind of old, but yeah, that year, that 2000, that summer, a couple of my friends, well, one friend in particular started calling me that, and then that crew of friends, as a joke, they kind of, kept calling me that nickname. But then we traveled that weekend and went to visit other people. And those people who met me for the first time got introduced to me. And I got introduced to them as Pops. And then that name kind of traveled because they didn't ever meet Eric, they met Pops. So then the name stuck, and then...
Did it bother you?
No, it didn't bother me. I liked it.
You feel comfortable with
So, it's better than somebody call me Pretty Eye.
Yeah, because you're
When you joined Project Hip Hop, like when you heard about it, was it like the vision in your head the same as it is for you right now, the experience?
Yeah, so Project Hip Hop, I got involved right when I finished graduate school. And I basically, two people who I knew were involved suggested that I check it out and get more involved. They knew I was really big into hip hop and into community, and they knew Project Hip Hop kind of merged the two. So for me, when I first met the person who was in charge, and I also met some of the young people who were involved at the time, I was open. They had me at hello.
So this is something that you benefit off of, and like something that you like as soon as you were introduced to it?
Yeah. So I mean, for me, I saw it as something that I would have participated in if I was a teenager. It was something like Project Hip Hop didn't exist when I was, within the city where I was at. So I saw it as an extension of the stuff that I wanted to do in high school. So I was really involved in my neighborhood in high school, and just kind of doing stuff similar. But Project Hip Hop was kind of like more of a citywide thing that would have been nice to have,
So what do you get off of Project Hip Hop? Does it like giving back to the community? Does it help you sleep better at night? Does it make you happy? Or how do you
The
feel?
kind of benefits I get from it are, you know, somewhat selfish. You know, for me, it's professional development in a way. I've learned a lot of management skills and nonprofit skills, budgeting skills, and silly stuff like that. And then there's soft skills, so I'm more able to speak publicly because I have to be like an ambassador for Project Hip Hop too. And I'm a volunteer, but I'm a board member now, so you know I really kind of I worry about fundraising and making sure that things are running okay and helping the staff with whatever they need. So you know it's helped me in that way grow as a person because all of those skills are the same skills I need in my household to make sure I pay my bills on time and the lights don't go out and you know I get my I'm able to manage my to-do list at work so I can get stuff done so I don't get fired. So there's benefits in that way. And then of course the benefits of, being a asset to the community and being involved and connecting with young people who sometimes don't necessarily have good families at home. And then some others who are involved who do have good families. I've been in people's living rooms. I've, given people hugs after, bad things have happened. So it runs the full spectrum.
I guess what advice would you give kids our age about changes they can make in their community?
It's kind of tongue in cheek, but I would say don't be a chump. A lot of some teenagers I find nowadays are really, they'll talk a lot of junk, but then when it's really time for them to speak up, they're real quiet. So there's, I'll be on the bus and people are running at the mouth and all of that, and they'll go to class and don't ever raise their hand or ever ask a question. So it's like, Jekyll and Hyde, but, they feel like either they don't want to be involved or they don't want to do anything, but it's, it doesn't hurt to ask the question why. So if you see something you don't like, ask the question why, and, that's what I try to do is encourage. I try to push any of the young people I know to be more critical thinkers and really, ask the question. Well, if you're concerned about something, do something. Don't be lazy. So that's why I say a chunk. Just kind of step up and represent.
Okay, well, that's all the questions we have for you today. Thank you for coming.
We have one more. I have one more to follow up for you guys. What influenced you to want to be more involved in the community and stand up, and advocate for others?
What influenced me? Yeah, I was involved at a young age. I remember in the 5th grade, I used to have T-shirts that said Mandela, Malcolm, Marcus, and Martin with my flat top. And I remember when Nelson Mandela was released from prison. I remember visiting my father in New York and making him take me to the ANC headquarters in New York. I remember the Rodney King verdict and the riots and talking with, the teachers that I had at the time, because I didn't have any black teachers except for two. Throughout my entire K-12 experience, I had 3 total black teachers, one in elementary, one in middle, one in high school. But I remember talking to teachers about that, when the riots broke out. So I've always had the mindset of being a part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
Was you born in Boston? Did you grow up in Boston?
No, I'm originally from a place called Charleston, South Carolina. So, country boy.
So, Nelson, Martin, and Marcus are your inspiration to do what you do? Or,
not necessarily. They were a part of it. I mean, my family. My mother was a single mother with 3 kids. So I have that unfortunate, typical story as well. Grew up on Section 8 and food stamps and that kind of stuff too. So, there's plenty of people around me who succumb to obstacles. There's plenty of people around me who cheat. So even, with the Section 8 and the food stamps, all 3 of her kids graduated from college. So, there's always, that motivation. There's also the motivation of, different people in my neighborhood who started from the bottom. Now we have.
Oh my God. One more question before, because I know you have to go. When you was growing up, who was your role model? Because I have a role model.
My role model, one of my role models and why I'm in Boston is a guy named Reggie Lewis. So have you heard of the Reggie Lewis Center?
Yeah.
Reggie Lewis was from Baltimore. He was a basketball player. He went to Northeastern. He was good. He was in the NBA. He was real good. But he was really involved in the community. So he used to do a lot of stuff before it was popular, and before before the cameras always followed them wherever they went. Like he used to just be around the city, and I knew about him. I was a fan of him, so I don't know why I came to Northeastern to go to school, but I knew of Northeastern because Reggie Lewis went there.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for going on.
You have any more questions?
No.
Really just shutting it down.